I'm staying in the worst reviewed Airbnb in my entire city, and I have two simple goals. Are these reviews unfounded? And how much money does this host make every single month, and is it worth it? I paid $103 to stay here, and let's see how it turns out. What's going on, everyone? My name is Garrett Brown. I'm the Bigger Pockets resident STR expert. You saw the intro, you saw the title and thumbnail. I'm gonna go check out some of these very, very low rated Airbnbs to figure out what exactly is going wrong. Are they still even making money? Is that even possible when you have a bottom 10% Airbnb? How do you turn it around if they actually want to? So I'm gonna hide a lot of details too, because I'm not trying to expose anybody or any bad listings out there. You would see it. When I get there, I'm gonna go into more of the reviews and talk about what I'm looking for. There are a few things that I'm trying to accomplish today. One, can I still leave a 5-star review after all the things I've read in the 1-star reviews? And two, are the reviews accurate? Is this place a bottom 10% place? I've stayed in a ton of Airbnbs. I own a bunch of Airbnbs. I'm gonna know very quickly if this host just had a few bad guests that kind of ruined it, or if the reviews are actually leading up to something. And then third, finally, I'm gonna dive in and show you exactly what I think this host is making each month on this property and talk about, is this a good investment for other people to try? Rental arbitrage, co-hosting, getting a small condo or apartment and turning that into its own Airbnb. And is that something that is profitable and sustainable going forward? So without further ado, let's head out to the location. I'm looking for parking everywhere. There's parking right there. I see it. Oh, no, actually there's no parking. I was gonna say, it's good. It's a massive hole though. I saw a few reviews talk about how dangerous the area was too, if you don't park inside. So yeah, I'm hoping I don't come out in the morning and my car is gone. I know this area pretty well though, and I don't think it's as bad as people are saying, but honestly, run across jaywalking. Building homes. This is kind of the area. So I made it in. Wasn't too hard to find. This is the AC unit everybody talks about. That is terrible. It's literally right by the door. So that's not bad. Let's make it in. Okay. So quick little room tour. I got the space theme going. AC unit. And go into the kitchen. Not bad, not bad. How did they get that to stick up there? Dude, their super glue budget must be insane. So let's go through some of the reviews and see if we can bust the myth of them and see if they're actually accurate. This place is rated 4.45 stars, which is not a 1-star Airbnb. I actually couldn't even find one when I was trying to in my city. This was at the bottom of the rankings pretty much. The only ones that were beating this were like shared bedrooms that had probably like 4.1 and 4.2 stars. So one of the first reviews, I love the whole idea of the place. The place is definitely picture worthy, but stay worthy. I wouldn't stay here. They have a bad roach problem, even with roach spray. They continue to come out all day, even with the lights on. The walls are very thin and you can hear everything. The gates are difficult to get into. So overall, great for a quick gig and content, but not an overnight stay. Another one, you get what you pay for at best to describe this place. Location is amazing, but street noise is nonstop. The AC shuts on and off randomly, making even more noise. The photos show an artistic ceiling, but the cotton is falling off and full of dust. There were 3 huge cockroaches I had to kill during my stay. Made me very uncomfortable. Had to wait for check-in even though booking said 4 p.m. Urine in the toilet when I finally walked in. Price and location ideal, but needs better upkeep and better pest control. Would definitely not recommend this place again. Another one, there were a few issues with this location, including a thick smog of 420 upon entering and a bad cockroach infestation both outside in the general area and on the walls in the bed. The bed was hard, the air conditioning was loud, the lighting poor, and the trash can was broken. The locks were non-functional and the door could only be locked from the inside. Insane to charge this amount of money for this place. This place cost me $90 to stay in. I'm not sure what they expected. Within 24 hours of our stay, we found multiple cockroaches in all stages of life, baby to adult, in the eating area, by the couch, and next to the bed. This led us to believe there was an infestation and we decided to check out early. We promptly contacted the host and requested a refund for the remainder. The host refused our refund and we had to involve Airbnb. I was very disappointed with the cleanliness of the unit and actions taken by the host to resolve. Aside from pest control, the unit was not portrayed as accurately as it could be. Several pieces of furniture and decor shown in the listing were not present. There was no space-themed rug, vanity, or chair, and the throw pillows and blankets were missing. The bed did not have a comforter, which made it very chilly in the winter. I could have rated this 3 for the inconvenience of the unit not having all the bells and whistles, but the cockroaches were unacceptable. Check out the bathroom. A lot of blue paint, tons of blue paint. So we're stepping into the bathroom. I was kind of expecting to see a ton of roaches when I came in here, just because how all the reviews said that, but nothing has really showed me anything yet. Well, Houston, we have a problem. I'm not sure exactly how this host makes any money at all. Over. So it's not a bad little place. This closet isn't terrible. If you're liking the video, hit that subscribe button. One of the reviews said that there was urine in the toilet when they came. Can confirm, myth busted, no urine. Another complaint I saw on the reviews a good bit was how the bathtub is pretty old. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's definitely not brand new from any showcase room anytime soon. A lot of the tile is kind of chipped, but overall it's not bad. It's not like I see a bunch of like mildew forming and things. This is, I mean, they could definitely just fix this. That would be pretty simple, but I will say that the review mentioning how dirty the clouds are not wrong. Let me just zoom in on that. Yeah, that I would bring this stuff down. This definitely isn't probably needed. Another thing that the review said a lot was that you couldn't lock the door, which I didn't have any issues. And they said you couldn't open the door from the outside with a lock, but it was locked when I came. So can confirm that. Uh-oh, that little baby roach? That's the smallest little bitty roach I ever seen. I don't know if that's a roach. That might just be a bug. I expected like roaches to just come out of the woodworks, but I haven't really seen any. That was the smallest little babyest bug I've ever seen in my life. So a few of the reviews said that the bed was very hard. I actually think it's pretty good. I was able to pull up how much this property exactly makes every single year. I found the exact property on AirDNA. I paid $103 to stay here tonight. It's a Tuesday, so I'm sure their rates go up slightly on the weekend. $13 of that was taxes, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correct. There may be like Airbnb service fee. So basically $90. This place makes about $22,000 total for the whole year, has a 66% occupancy, and the average daily rate's about 89. What I know in this particular area is places about this big, a studio, 1 bedroom with laundry and all that included, you're probably paying between $40 to $60. My guess is he's on the lower end of that because he has a bunch of units, and I just don't see how you can make a profit if you're charging $90 and the cleaning alone is $60 to $70. So I'm gonna take a guess that he's probably in the 40 to 50 range, has a bunch of cleaners that are more hourly. And he had 2 assistants. He has a ton of places. So I imagine he just really is trying to get to scale. And also, I can't figure out exactly what the average length of stay here is, but my 1 night stay probably really significantly cut into their profit margin. You probably need people to stay 2, 3, 4 nights to really make that extra money that you're needing to there. But even if he makes $22,000 the entire year, and say 30 to 40% of that goes to cleaning, you got about $13,000 left. You're making about $1K. You have electricity. You have internet. I don't know, again, if he's rental arbitrage or if he actually owns the unit, which, would change a little bit, but I can't imagine he's not spending at least $500, $600, $700 a month. And I'm probably on the low end there. Maybe he has a bunch of units in here. There's always, the economies of scale help you a ton when you're trying to do things like this. And maybe he has relationships. Like, let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he's paying $500 basically for the rental of this unit. And I bet it's higher than that. He's making about $500 a month, but he also has a couple assistants. And if they're spread out over multiple properties, it's not as big of a deal. He also has some supplies, and I'm sure there's some breakage. So we usually account for about 5 to 10% for that. I can't imagine that he's making more than a few $100s a month on this property. But it all comes down to your idea of the business model. A lot of people will say rental arbitrage is dead. A lot of people will say co-hosting is just way too much work and it's another job, which it basically is. It's not an investment, even though it leads you to better investments. If this is the model you want to go and build a business and build another job, then running this kind of operation at scale could be one for you. Me particularly, I don't like this kind of operation because it is very workload heavy, and you do not get the upside of owning property, owning land, tax benefits, debt pay down, all these things like that truly move the needle for short-term rental owners and real estate investors in general. So I don't say all this to discourage anybody, because this is a great way to get in for very little money as possible. You're building a job. with this type of operation. So if that's one of your goals, which could lead you to cash flow, which could lead you to getting investment properties, I'm not against it one bit, but I would rather see you partner and do co-hosting so you don't have the overhead of all these things I mentioned. You just do the management fee and really focus on bigger houses that are more luxury or scaling with unique stays. If you end up in the middle with a basic property like this in an okay area with not a bunch of bells and whistles, or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in some suburb with not a lot to it, you're gonna always get close to just breaking even. And you're truly never gonna realize the power of like what short-term rentals was kind of made to be. But I do think that a lot of guests are way harsher on hosts than they should be. And I think there's a lot of bad hosts too. So I don't want to act like hosts are not at fault here for a lot of things. But at the same time, guests need to have a better idea of what they're stepping into and what they paid for. The roaches thing, I'm not going to make an excuse for. And the clouds, I'm still not a big fan of. But the amount of people that were like, the bed's hard, I'm not worth the stay, and all these things. If that was truly because of the roaches, which I have not seen any, or maybe they've done work then, their expectations are just entirely too high for Airbnb stays. This is comparable to a Motel 6. I guarantee you're gonna pay very, very close to the same going to a Motel 6, staying at a place like this. But I think the thing here to notice is this guy makes money because he has the economies of scale, and he built a business actually. Like, even if he has some properties that aren't as profitable and other things like that, he has these numbers working at scale. And sometimes that's the model that's needed for you. If you made it this far into the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, comment below, and let me know where you want me to go to next, or any ideas that you want to see. Or if you love this idea, I would love to hear about it and what I could do differently next time, because this was actually kind of fun to film. And until then, I think YouTube wants you to watch one of these videos. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.